welcome to our humble abode. It is another late Tuesday night, and this is Cubfidential. I am your producer, Dr. Cubfidence. We got a jam-packed show. Last week was kind of a vent session, like a post All-Star, not post All-Star, post trade deadline vent session. But we're gonna have a full show tonight. We have a brand new newcomer making his debut, and he was so gracious enough to be voluntold to get in the ring for the Cub confrontation. But that's coming up later. But we're gonna go ahead and bring in our QB2. He is the Rocky Mountain rock star. Come on in here, Jordan Long.
Hey Jay, or Dr. Confidence, I should say. How's it going, man?
Doing pretty good. I know you're still riding high from the Avalanche, so enjoy it for the next few months. And I know you're hyped about the Broncos, but
exactly.
We're here to talk some Cubs baseball, so go ahead and kick it off, brother.
We are, yeah. This is Cubfidential, the best late night Cubs show, and we have a great show for you, like Dr. Confidence said. Let's bring on Jennifer Matthews-Lewis as we recap the Marlin series that we actually won 2 out of 3. Hey, Jennifer.
Woo-hoo! That was pretty nice to win 2 out of 3, right?
It was better than the series before that, where we couldn't really do anything. And then today I saw we were up by 1, and now we're kind of losing.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. We'll get it together one day. Or we won't. We'll have another longest drought in, World Series history. Hey, we'll still be famous.
Well, saying that the Cubs are going to win. Unfortunately, last time I looked at the score, it was a 1-run game for the Nationals. So we'll just see what happens. I mean, we got an inning left, but let's go into, the happier series, which was, the Marlin series. The Miami Marlins aren't exactly a great baseball team. So this is a team that you should take care of business. I know we're not that good, but you know what? We did take care of business. You look at the first game.
Yeah.
It was really a pitcher's duel, and I like those close games. We haven't seen too many of those this year for our
We really haven't. They've been blowouts one way or another for the most part. So this one was honestly, it ain't over till the end of the 9th inning. So it was anybody's game till then. The one area that the Marlins really did fall short on, though, was the players left on base. They had 11. And, we actually did pretty okay on that one. We only had 6 in that game. So that's not so bad.
No, it wasn't. And if you look at the 11 guys left on base for the Marlins, I mean, they had guys on base. We just stranded them. So, I mean, we know our bullpen isn't very good. Our pitching hasn't been that good. But against the Marlins, it actually showed up for that game. And then, of course, game 2 on Saturday, pitching again. We won that game 4-0.
Right, exactly. And they and I think that sorry to say, but I'll say what I was going to say in a minute again. But I think that's why the Marlins came back and won the third game. They were sick of losing. Because on this game, we left more players on base than the Marlins did. We left 8 to their 5. However, the top performers in this game were all Cubs. There were no Marlins in the top 3. So, I mean, Contreras did his Contreras thing. I'm really confused with Contreras right now because I thought we can talk about that in a second. If you want. Sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, we had a venting session last week where we thought Contreras was going to be gone, and yet he's still here. I think, honestly, the way he's playing right now is because, the pressure is off of being traded. You heard all the rumors. I know not last week, but the week before, we even talked about, he's gone.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, that he's still here. I mean, we're a bad team. We know that. He's kind of the leader now, and that the pressure is off of him now, and now he can just perform, and it relaxes the guy because you're not reading every day, I'm going to go to this team. Except for now I'm going to go to this team. Now he can just relax, which is really nice.
Exactly. And, come what may in the off season, but at least, and that's really got to suck when you've dedicated your entire life or your entire career to a team. It
really does. And I honestly don't like seeing guys leave. And I understood it last year because we were starting to well, actually last year I didn't understand until we started to slide, and now this year it's like, why are we saving money? Why aren't we saving money? I didn't get it, but you know what? That's a story for another day, and of course we vented on that last week. But if you look at the pitching from Saturday's game, it was nice that the bullpen didn't have to work. I mean, Smiley, 6.2 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. And actually, Lightyear Jr., who I definitely started as a starter, is now in a bullpen guy, and I think that actually suits him better. He went 2.1 innings and 1 strikeout. The guy's been, I think he's more relaxed somehow coming out of the bullpen than he was as a starter.
And that's a good thing, because maybe sometimes you don't need the title starter. Like, okay, take for instance, like I've been rewatching Scrubs during my workday or re-listening to it, like Jordan and Dr. Cox. They're a great couple until they're married. They're not a good couple. So maybe you don't need the title to be great.
I think that could be true, because he was our 5th starter, and then Ross just decided, hey, you know what, let's put him in the bullpen. I mean, I know he got sent down, but then he got called up again, and Ross was just let's put him in the bullpen. On as much as we diss Ross, that might have been his smartest decision this year. Yeah.
And I mean, you know, like Jacob has said, the Pundits Pundit, he's said a couple of times, a lot of Ross's issues and as a manager should have been worked out coaching minor league. And it's a valid point. I got to give the Pundits Pundit credit for that.
I would agree with it, and we've said that on the show, but I also wonder how much of that is also ownership and general manager, because Jed Hoyer...
Oh, the Ricketts suck.
Well, we can see that. No, you're fine. I mean, it's been frustrating to see a team that's won a World Series go from that to what do we have now? Are we rebuilding or are we not? I made the point in last week's show that are we rebuilding or are we not? We have to choose a direction. And the Pundits Pundit, also known as Jacob Christner, also said, well, why don't we do what the Orioles did? If you subscribe to our YouTube channel here on the Sideline Sports Network, you know that we have one dedicated to the Orioles, the O Show with John Shear. But his point was why don't we go ahead and lose, 100+ games a year and rebuild that way? You know what? I'm fine with that. It would definitely be disappointing, but at least we know the direction we're going. Right now, I have no idea what direction we're going.
Thank you. And I need to address a couple of things. Hi, Will. Hi, Dee. And Will, no, you're a Yankees fan, I think. So no, you cannot be an adoptee of the Cubs fan. I will not totally give you up for adoption yet. However, you were close with the Duke comment earlier. Sorry.
So if you guys don't know, Will, he's way part of our Sideline Sports Network here. He's on the NBA Carousel. He occasionally goes on to the Zip Off. I think he's on the Zip Off.
Yeah, he's on the Zip Off every week,
he's
pretty much.
Sometimes on the Gauntlet. And of course, Basket Bros, which, by the way, you guys should watch because it takes me back to my childhood of basketball.
As well as the NBA Carousel, which got him his foothold here.
And that is going to come up in the fall. I'm a part of that.
With that Yankees comment, Jordan, on our Cubfidential page, we may need to ban Will from this.
I understand. At least the Yankees, though, they rebuilt the right way. I wish we were the Yankees or the St. Louis Cardinals. I know that pains me to say that as a Cubs fan, to say,
hi, D.
Say that I want to be like the St. Louis Cardinals, but the fact of the matter is how many losing seasons have they had? I can't remember that many. Oh, really, Will? Come on, this is a Cub show.
Really, Dr. Cubfidence? You're going to show that? Come on, D. All right.
Chop on. All right, you guys have the World
Series. You had WGN growing up, too. Stop it right now.
But if you look at Sunday, that one, it kind of hurt. I mean, 3-0. Offensively, I don't know what happened. It just didn't work out. We had 2 hits, 2 walks. That can't happen. And of course, I've talked to Steve about this, about the strikeouts. 9 strikeouts. I don't know if those were, caught, looking, or did they try to swing at it? Either way, 9 strikeouts is just way too many, if you ask me. But you got to give the Marlins some credit. They won that game. They played well. 8 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. But the thing is, though, They still left 6 on base to our 4. But if you look at that, if we would have scored those 4, we win the game.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. They outperformed us. So we outperformed them on Saturday. They outperformed us on Sunday. Because on Saturday, we were like, our players were the top 3 performers. Sunday, it was all the Marlins as top performers. So, I mean, then, the Marlins actually on Sunday left more folks on base than we did. They had 6 on base. We had 7 on base. They had, 8 hits, 2 home runs. We had 2 hits, 0 home runs, obviously. So, I mean,
well, even
it is what it is.
A 3-0 game. I mean,
yeah,
that's been our problem this year is we have pitching, but no offense, or a lot of offense and no pitching. It's just been frustrating this year. I mean, I know I didn't expect us to be this bad, but at some point something has to change, whether it be the next 2 months or next year.
Yep, exactly. And the consistency just has to get there. And I don't know how much. I don't know if Ross is just being the hang guy for what's going on with Hoyer and the Ricketts. I truly don't. I don't know if they're just completely ignoring them like the Bears did to Dom Capers. I don't know. But all I know is my football team went to the Super Bowl in 2015, 2016. My Cubs won the World Series in 2016, and they're both where they are. Am I the unifying fact? Am I that special, Jordan?
I wouldn't say so, because at least the Cubs made the playoffs in the last, 6 years. We didn't go very far. Well, actually, we went to the NLCS the year after we won the World Series, lost to the Dodgers. But the thing is I wouldn't blame it on you. I think that year, though, we had the World Series hangover. Now Ricketts can just hold the ring on saying, oh, yeah, we got to the World Series. Why don't I just worry about, other finances? And I don't know how much he is their day-to-day operations. I know that's Jed Hoyer's job. I mean, we've talked about this, you and I, on a lot of the chats. We want to create a culture. What's our culture? I really have no idea with the Cubs.
I feel like the culture's gone with the Cubs.
I would have to agree with that. I mean, you got rid of Anthony Rizzo last year. You got rid of Baez, and we got rid of Anthony Rizzo, or not Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant. So it's like you got rid of these pieces that were supposed to be your core. Now, what is our core right now? I guess you could say it's Ian Happ is part of that. I guess. I mean, we were trying to trade him too. So I really don't know what's going on with our team. And I don't know what's said in closed doors either. I wish I could be in those meetings with the Ricketts family as well as Jed Hoyer to actually know what's going on.
Right. I mean, because sometimes I don't understand what's going on with these owners. And because the Ricketts seem so invested in maintaining the culture when they first bought the Cubs, right? Mm-hmm. They invested all this money. They actually did the repairs on Wrigley Field that were needed. That were true, like literally the cement was like crumbling on fans. They made these repairs. They fixed the electrical issues. They did what they could do while keeping Wrigley Field intact.
The thing is,
it's what it is now.
And the thing I talked to JB about, is Wrigley Field. I mean, everybody wants to go there. It just seems like, why would you want to? It's a great field, but why would you want to see a losing club? They know they're going to get money from, food, the tickets. I mean, what matters to them? I really have no idea with the Ricketts family right now.
I stopped giving food and money to my football team until the owner brings back my culture. If we're losing, we still have my culture. I'm okay with it. But get rid of my culture. And the same would be with the Cubs. Like, I'd take in my bottle of water that's allowed, and I'd be good.
So now we're going to go to Cub or Dub. I know Jason Hayward is going to move on from this year. The question is, are we going to regress when he leaves? Absolutely,
we're going to regress. Because Hayward's been around. How long has Hayward been around?
He's been around, I want to say, since 2015. And I remember when he signed that contract, I was like, guys, we're going to get a guy who has a great arm. His batting stinks. And guess what? That's exactly what I have seen. Great bat, great fielding, terrible bat. But the other thing is, we have to remember why we got him. We got him for his leadership, and that's why I won the World Series.
Yeah, and honestly, just what they're doing is just disgusting. I mean, I get it when it's time to retire and you're injured. I get it. I get that. But baseball players do have longevity that other players don't have in some cases. Kerry Wood, with his amazing pitcher as he was, because he was so amazing, he wasn't going to be around the MLB for long. But his coworkers or his teammates have said that quote, and this is from the Chicago Sun-Times just about 20 minutes ago. Jason Hayward, Cubs teammates express appreciation. Incredibly generous person. They don't want to see him go. And there's something to be said for that leadership and the locker room.
That is certainly true. Well, thank you, Jennifer, for being on this week's show. Tell everyone where they can find you and follow you, and we will see you next week, hopefully.
Sure. You can find me on Twitter at Jenna Cheryl, the professional fan. You can also find me on a lot of Sideline Sports podcast, like my show, the Three Chicks in a Pod. That's with my homegirls, Carrie Johnson, the Chiefs chick, and Miss Queen of Hoops, Miss Megan Price. She's also the owner and host of the NBA Carousel, and that's on Monday nights during the NBA season. Then we have the Pundits Pundit, which right now is on Thursday nights. I've been on the Gauntlet once. Dom, if you're watching, I'm waiting for my second invite. And I've been Pundits Pundit, NFL Carousel. Then I produce Basket Bros, which is a 2010s and before basketball talk show, just with Dom Drubis, our Dr. Cubfidential himself, Mr. J. Nielsen, and with Mr. Pundits Pundit, Jacob Christner, and Will Vogel. And then what else do I have? I have a couple other shows that I'm blanking on right now. And I've been on your show too, and I love that, Jordan. So thank you for that.
And you will be back. Probably during the football season.
Thank you. And D, your Braves lost all but 2 games in the last 10 days. You can't talk much. All right. Bye, Jordan. Peace out.
Bye, Jennifer. So that was Jennifer Matthews Lewis. Let's bring in Steve Schwanda, who's going to talk about this Cubs for You, also known as our Cub of the Week. Hey, Steve.
What's up, Jordan? How you doing, man?
I would have been doing better had the Cubs won. I don't know what the score is now, but they were losing.
I'm glad you asked. It's still 6-5 in the bottom of the 9th. Suzuki just got out at second on a steal attempt. So there's 2 outs with a runner on. So, yeah, runner on first, 2 outs, 6-5. I think I could say that copyright reasons without getting in trouble. We're not showing any clips or anything like that. So, yeah, 6-5. Washington is up. Runner on first, 2 outs. So, yeah, if you see me go like this during this, that's why, because I'm watching the Cubs. But
it would be very fun if we could win this game and see you on it. But unfortunately, I don't know if that's going to happen. But let's go.
It would be very fun if that would happen. Yes. Our viewers would get quite a treat.
Yeah, they would. So let's talk about our Cub for the week. I believe this is the first time that we've had a pitcher.
Yeah, you know what? There were some talks, and I was like, you know what? I've always done the best hitter of the last 7 days. Why don't we do the best pitcher? And our pitching hasn't been, well, our starting pitching hasn't been great. Our bullpen actually has been relatively, thank you, Taylor, relatively okay. But, you know, Justin, here's this is the Cubs season in a nutshell right now, right? If I give you these following stats: 1 walk, 10 Ks, no runs, 4 hits, 93 pitches. Great start. The problem, that covered 4 2/3. So we take out our pitcher after 10 Ks after 4 2/3. He gave up no runs, 4 hits, 1 walk, 10 Ks.
And
but
he's also
3 pitches over 4 2/3, which again, science, math, knowledge would tell you if you strike out a lot of guys, your pitch count's probably going to be high because you got to throw at least 3 pitches at least every at bat. So your pitch count gets high.
well,
But
I believe
that just goes to show you how different we are. That at 93 pitches for 4 2/3, 4 hits, we don't even let them finish the inning. We don't even let them go through 5.
and some of that I have to blame on David Ross. I mean, we keep talking about it. I know we're all sick of talking about David Ross, but that's just a decision of David Ross. You're right. If you're, 4 2/3 innings in, why not let him finish it? But yet Ross sees the writing on the wall, and I don't know if he gets scared or what he does. He's just like, I'm going to go into the bullpen. And what does the bullpen do? It makes the bullpen overwork, and that's why our bullpen isn't that great.
Yeah, and luckily that game, they did beat the Marlins 2-1 in that game, right? But, imagine getting 10 Ks, giving up 4 hits, no runs, and what? You still needed, 5 1/3 from your bullpen to get the win, right? You want your starter to I know times have changed, right? We're not going to have our starters throw 138 pitches and, go 8 innings anymore. I get it. Sandy Koufax isn't walking through this door, pitching, 35 complete games during the year. But 4 2/3, we can't get 6 out of our starter. And I get, and as it's not like Justin Steele is 22 years old on a pitch count. He's 27. He's a good sized dude. Come on. He's not my 11-year-old son on a pitch count in Little League. Come on.
It is very frustrating. I know you missed our show last week. I know it's late for you to be on the show.
It is. It's very late for me. Yes.
But what I was complaining about to JB last week, and we had a short abbreviated show for the trade deadline. Are we rebuilding or what are we doing? I have no idea. It seems like we're in the middle. We want to rebuild, but we don't know how to rebuild the right way.
Yeah, I heard you talking to Jen about that, and you're absolutely right. It's a different sport, but he's right. Charles Barkley says a lot of crazy things. I get it, and I'm not debating any of that. We're not here for that. But the smartest thing that he ever said on NBA with TNT, which obviously he said a lot of crazy things, said a lot of smart things. But the smartest thing he's ever said was, if you are not contending, you should be rebuilding. Because basketball-wise, we'll do the analogy. Basketball-wise, the worst thing you can do is a 7-8 seed, right? So you make the playoffs, but you're not going to win a first-round series. And you're not in the lottery, so you're not going to get a good player. So you're basically going to just get the 7-8 seed every year. Baseball, same way. You're going to almost make the playoffs or make the wild card or lose or just miss out on the wild card. So you get a 16th pick in a draft. So you never get a, game-changing player, and you just go through the motions. And as a business model, that might be okay, right? And that's a matter of what do you want to be, right? If you're a business, and obviously the Cubs are a bad example because people are going to go to Wrigley. I know you're and I've been to Wrigley for a game. It was amazing. You're going to go to Wrigley. It's a great time. I drove 4.5 hours from Michigan to Chicago to go to Wrigley. It was outstanding. It was amazing, right? So you're going to have people go to Wrigley. They're not going to get 3,000 people for a game, right? Obviously, people are going to go to Wrigley. So you're going to make money. And as a business, technically, that's what you're trying to do. But as a smart business, you want those extra games. You want those playoff games. You want the extra TV revenue for the playoffs. So that's the thing. Like, if you're just going to be just missing the playoffs, 10 games out of, 10 games out of first 500 every year. Yeah, you'll still get people to come to your games if you're the Cubs, but you're never. Thank you, Tyler. You're never gonna get it any better, right? And
I completely agree. I wish they would do a model. I mean, I'm going to take one of your teams you follow, the Golden State Warriors. I wish they would do what the Golden State Warriors did. Not good for years. They drafted well, and look at where they are now. Yes, they made some trades to get some, great players, but what's their core?
Well, I do the analogy very quickly. Simply, I know it's not a basketball show, but very quickly. So, yeah, Warriors were not good. They took advantage. Obviously, the teams passed on Steph Curry. One team, Timberwolves, passed twice for Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn. You're welcome. But, they drafted Steph. They drafted Clay. They drafted Draymond at 38 or whatever it was in the second round, right? And then, yes, you had the Durant thing, so they got a couple with Durant. But when they won 73 games, they didn't have Durant. They had Harrison Barnes in that spot, right? It's people that they either drafted or traded for, right? And then right now, obviously, they got rid of Durant. They made a brilliant move to get D'Angelo Russell in a sign trade, knowing that they're going to flip him for Andrew Wiggins. Oh, an athletic wing, which they need an athletic wing because they have a whole bunch of scoring guards. So we need an athletic wing. And then voila, here comes Wiggins, and you win a championship. And obviously, all of us as Cub fans, I guess I can't speak for everybody, but I think everybody thought that. Obviously, 2016 was special. Obviously, it was great. It doesn't take away from anything else. It was Taylor. It was a special moment, right? But if I was the only one, you could tell me. But I'm pretty sure most Cubs fans, after that 2016 title, was like, yeah, this was awesome. We won. Yes, 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 right? But let's look at our team. Rizzo, Bryant, at that time, Russell obviously moved on. Fallon obviously moved on. Baez, go down the list. Everybody was young. And yeah, it's fandom and it's stupidity and all that. But we're like, they're gonna win 2 of the next 4, right? Like they're gonna win 3 of the next 5. And they did at least get to the NLCS, but they didn't get back to the World Series. And of course, you have last year with Bryant, Baez, and Rizzo all at the same time. This year, I know we all expected Contreras and Happ to go. I'm happy that they didn't. The next step is signing Happ to an extension. Now, because he is under contract still for next year. But he needs to sign an extension. And yeah, I'm a huge Ian Happ fan, but still. But yeah, because you have a very small window. Now you have a bigger window in baseball than in football. Obviously, football with a hard salary cap. In football, your best chance to be good is if you draft a young quarterback and they're good, so that while they're still on their rookie deal, you have money to bring in people, win, and then you move on. Seattle did with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson and Seattle won their championship when he was on their rookie deal because they had money to give to everybody else.
Thanks for the bad memory, too, by the way. I'm a Broncos fan.
When they had to give him money, they couldn't win anymore. Yes, and now he's a Bronco, so good luck to you and the Mile High Army. But in baseball, there is not a salary cap. So if your owners want to spend, and that's what's crazy about it, we have teams with $250 million payrolls playing against teams with $30 million payrolls. So, and obviously the Cubs are a major market. They're obviously making money. So as a Cub fan, you're like, we shouldn't be cost cutting here. We should be truly, and you said it earlier, and you're right. It hurts to say it, but you want to be the Cardinals. Like, when's the last time the Cardinals have been bad? Like, yeah, you're not going to win the championship every year. You're not going to win a division every year. But when's the last time the Cardinals have just, I mean, pardon my language, lack of a better term, when's the last time the Cardinals have just sucked? It's been a while.
I was going to say, I can't even remember.
It's been a while, right? And that's the point. Like, yeah, you're not going to win the Central every year. You're not going to go to the NLCS every year. But are you going to be 30 games under 500 for 3, 4, 5 years in between? That shouldn't happen. If you're the Cubs, if you have basically a national TV deal, if you have fans literally everywhere, you go to San Diego, and even San Diego's good, you'll still have more Cub fans and Padre fans there, right? Like, that should not happen. They should not be ever 20, 30 games under 500 because you're going to make money.
I completely agree. So now, Cub or Dub, we heard the report that Hayward is to depart the Cubs after the season. Of course, we know about 2016. He gave that great speech, which we ended up winning in extras. Do you think without him, we will regress next year?
Truthfully, yes. I mean, I don't know how it could work out. The roles. I want him on staff.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Batting coach. I don't care. Assistant to the, bullpen manager, catcher. I don't care. Make up a name. I don't care. Assistant hitting coach, assistant bench coach. Third. Make up something. I want him on staff because I have the utmost respect for him. And I'm not important. More importantly, everything that I've heard, which I have no reason to think otherwise, because obviously he wasn't producing on the field as far as, batting average and stuff like that, right? So, like, if he wasn't loved, if he wasn't respected, right, he wouldn't still be here. Obviously, he's getting paid a lot of money. It was a big contract, whatever. I get it. But again, to Cub Nation, to the owners, is it really a lot of money, right? Like, it's all relative, right? Is it really that much money? Like, if you're gonna, like, that's the thing. If you're making billions and billions of dollars, let's throw the bone to this guy. So if you work out you work out a buyout, like, hey, we're gonna give you $3 million, and then we're gonna make you our, hitting coach or assistant hitting coach or whatever. We'll give you some BS title, and you'll make 1.5 a year until your contract's done. 3-4 years down, we'll prorate it, whatever, right? So you make 1.5 a year for the next couple of years. Do you do it? I mean, I think Haywood would, and I think he would help the team dramatically, and because it's those types of guys, right? It's those glue guys, those locker room presence guys, especially in a rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Jason Haywood, he can't do it, and like, he's not going to hit 280 and be a all-star outfielder anymore, right? But he knows how to,
and
he has the wisdom to, and he can help people do it. And if you don't respect him and what he's saying to you, like, it's one thing if I'm 39 years old and I've never played professional baseball, right? So if I tell you something, yeah, you can roll your eyes, right? If Jason Haywood says something, you damn well better listen to him, right? So that is valuable. So I hope, that's my hope. I hope they work out an agreement. I'm sure I know they can. I mean, look at Bobby Bonilla. Bobby Bonilla still makes $1 million every July 1st from the Mets. So you can work out some agreement like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to give you, a couple million up front. We're going to prorate your contract. We're going to give you, 1.5 a year for the next 5 years. You're going to be the hitting coach or assistant hitting coach or fielding coach or whatever. Be the outfield fielding coach, whatever. Make up a role for him, right? That's what I would do. I would make up a role for him because you can do whatever you want. Make up a role for him and pay him.
You know what? That makes a lot of sense. But thank you, Steve, for being on this week's show. Hopefully we'll see you again.
You're welcome. Again, I know I know I messaged you already and it's not a football podcast, but my condolences for Tim Patrick and his ACL. As somebody who had him in a fantasy football league that could have kept him in the 9th round, I feel your pain. So
thank you. I appreciate that. I just hope that our other receivers are Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy step up. But tell everyone where they can find you and follow you, and hopefully we'll see you here again. I know we will. It's just a matter of can we keep you up past your bedtime?
Can you guys keep me up past your bedtime? I mean, right now, obviously the Cubs game, I was watching that. It did not, again, you didn't hear me go crazy. It did not go well. They did lose 6-5. So yeah, that's why I didn't go crazy. They did lose 6-5. But yeah, easiest way on Twitter, all eyes on you, the letter U, all eyes on you hoops is my basketball account. SBN1720 is my personal account. NBA season, NBA carousel I'm on. I have been lucky enough to join the sip off a couple times, though I've been told I'm banned for life by certain people. Cubfidential I am on when I stay up past the bedtime. I still want to get on 3 Chicks in a Pod at some point. I'm not sure how because I'm a guy. Basketball Bros, I still want to get on because I love NBA basketball, especially before 2000. So I got to get on that sometime. And I'm a lifelong Giants fan. So hopefully I'll be in the NBA or the NFL carousel at some point this fall as well, if needed. So yeah, hopefully you'll see me. And if not, yeah, just hit me up on Twitter.
Thank you, Steve, for being on, and have a great rest of your week. And we'll see you hopefully next week, if not the following week.
Thanks, buddy.
So we actually have a first timer to the show. We want to welcome in Tucker Hayes, who's going to talk about the St. Louis series. Hey, Tucker.
How's it going, y'all? Hey, how's it going?
It would have been a little bit better if the Cubs would have won tonight, but unfortunately, we lost by a run.
Hey,
Things go.
Right now, as a Cubs fan, even if it's a close game, you can count that as a win.
You know what? That is a very good point. I mean, we've all been doggy downers, and you know what? That makes a lot of sense. So let's go over. Unfortunately, we had to play our, heated rivals, the St. Louis Cardinals, and it didn't go our way.
Well, one thing is typical name to hurt Cub fans. Schmidt, Mr. Schmidt himself, he went crazy again. One thing that I really noticed from this series, besides the well-awaited return of Mr. Yachty becoming behind the plate, playing catcher, he had missed 37 games, and in his first game back, he just happened to pick off Ortega, stealing for second. So that wasn't surprising, but typical same old story. We couldn't get pitching going, and when we could get pitching going, we couldn't get hitting going. I mean, my man Keegan Thompson, he's actually from where I'm from, 256, but had to shout that out. Keegan Thompson, he went in against the Cardinals in game 1, and he didn't do what we were expecting. And in game 2, actually, this is one guy I wanted to talk about with you, is Marcus Strowman. I mean, that might be the best pitcher in the league through 5 innings on a Tuesday. Yeah, I mean, in any other moment, any other day, he's going to let up 6 runs in the first 2 innings, but he just happens to – he's gotten a lot better, though, I'd say.
The thing about Strowman is we've seen good, we've seen bad. And in fact, JB, who's usually our host, but this week I am, but he asked me last week, do you think that Strowman, regrets coming to the Cubs? I don't know if he regrets it, but if you look at the standings, you could certainly, have a, second, opinions about it, because if you look at the standings, he was with Toronto, who's, in the American League East, still up there. He could have gone to, St. Louis if they wanted him. But do you think it was a mistake for him to come to Chicago? I really don't think so. I mean, that's just my thoughts about it. But if you look,
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
I think one thing too is he's had a really rough year. I wouldn't say too rough, but he's had a growing year. And what is a better team to have a growing year than the Cubs? I mean, 44-64. They're obviously not going to, we're not making a playoff push. I just feel like if you're a guy that, he's been up here, down here, up here, down here, I feel like this is a really good place for him to find his footing. He might find his footing with the Cubs, and 2 years from now, he's a 2.73 ERA guy sitting here throwing starter, going 7 innings. But I think, one thing you kept saying earlier is, if we're rebuilding or not. I think for later, Frank Schwindel, I think a lot of these things hint towards we are rebuilding.
I can see where you're coming from.
We go into the Cardinals game. I think we should have pulled Strowman in about the 5th inning. We usually would, from what I remember. But I think we're just starting to test these guys out, really test what they're made of, test if they can go. Thompson, he has played, I think every game he's pitched, he's gone about 5 or 6 innings, unless he's gotten raked. I mean, I just think we're really trying to find 1 or 2 starters, for sure starters. And I think Keegan Thompson's one of those. And he didn't prove that against the Cardinals, but
the Cardinals series was just so frustrating. You come off of, a pretty good, I mean, that took us into the Marlin series where we actually played well, but it was just disappointing to see us not play 2 good series in a row. And that's been the story this year, unfortunately. And then if you look at, then we played Washington. And of course, we lost tonight, but yesterday we played them and we won 6-3. Give me your thoughts about that game, last night's game.
One thing about last night's game is, once again, my man Keegan Thompson, he came in 6 innings. I think he only allowed 1 earned run with 3 strikeouts. So once again, like y'all were talking about earlier, it's either good pitching or good hitting. This was one of the few games we had good hitting and good pitching. I mean, Rowan Wick, I'm a big fan of him. He came in and had an easy save. We had 2 home runs from 2 rookies, Velasquez and Christopher Morel. That was pretty nice to see, the young guys. And I think that's one thing that a lot of Cubs fans need to be excited for, is the young guys, There's a lot of teams rebuilding, but we've got Suzuki, Morel, Velasquez. I mean, the list goes on. We got a lot of young guys that are already pretty solid. Morel's been in the slump for a couple weeks, but
you're the first person on this show that has talked about the young guys. I can see that if we're going to rebuild, those young guys have to step up. So I can see where you're going with that. That actually kind of excites me. I know it's a down year, and I don't know if I blame David Ross or do I blame Jed Hoyer. It's a mixture of everything, but I could see us being excited about the young guys. You're the first person on the show to actually mention that.
Well, one thing too is the young guys, when we went to the Cardinals series, we had way too many errors. And I think for what we have, and I mean, our infield with Nico Horner and, everything, and with our outfield with Ortega, Happ, and all that, I think we've got really good fielding. I just think we've got a lot of young guys that are going to have to keep getting more confident in the field and everything. I think for what we have, I think we're not as far away as we think we are.
That is actually probably a good point. I know all of us here are thinking, we're not even, 3 years away. You're saying it's closer than that. And that kind of gets me a little more excited about, what's going to come up next year and the following years. But speaking of next year, we're going to do our Cub or Dub. Hayward is going to depart the Cubs. Will we regress without him? Because as you know, he was a big part of the 2016 World Series victory. Of course, he had that amazing speech. Do you think we regress without him?
I think we regress in the locker room with a leader, but I don't think we regress on the field because, like y'all were saying, well, now one thing, do not bring that man as a hitting coach. That's the last thing he needs to do is be the hitting coach, because if he's the hitting coach, we got some deeper problems than on the field. But I think, I think we lose the leadership aspect, but this is a good example. I'm a Seahawks fan. Russell Wilson got traded. When it's time to go, it's time to let go. You gotta move on. It's time to let go. It's like, this guy was so important to the team, but if you have to sit there and be like, well, he does this good, well, he does that good, if you can't sit here and name 3 things he really, really does, then how much does he need to be on the team?
That's a very good point. I think for Steve, he was more saying, should we put him in a position? They always make up special assistant to the GM. That could be a role for him.
100%. I mean, I would love to bring him back as a coach or anything, but also he's taken a lot of money, not taken, but he's received a lot of money from the Cubs, and he has not produced on the field as he should have and that's frustrating. But like y'all are saying, it's just more so, I think a lot of Cubs fans, and when you're in a rebuilding process, you can't have respect hold you back from decisions. It can make you feel more for those decisions, but we're in a rebuild. I mean, we don't have Jason. He's taking up so much money. We need money to get other guys. I mean, I just think we need to move on from him. Just like if it was easy for us to move on from Rizzo, Baez, and Chris Bryant, I think it should be just as easy for us to move on from Jason Hayward.
I completely agree. Well, Tucker, thanks for being on the show. We'll actually see you in a little bit for Cubfidential. Tell everybody where they can find you and follow you.
You can follow me on Twitter at Tucker Hayes 2001, and I'm not really on much. This is my first show actually with Confrontation, but if you ever see a tweet on Confrontation, it might be me. So give it a like, give it a retweet, boost my credit up in Sideline Sports a little bit. And but thank you. I'm excited to go at it in Confrontation.
Hopefully we'll see you again sometime on the show besides tonight. But thank you again, and we'll see you in a little bit.
All right, thank you.
You are certainly welcome. Let's bring on Jacob Christner on the show, who's going to talk about Phil Cavaretta.
Did you look at my gray hair and expect that I was born in that era?
When Jay put it up, I was like, or I should say, Dr. Cubfidential.
He's testing me. He's testing me. I've got this. This is no problem. No, but here's the thing. You're QB2. Do I call you Mason Rudolph?
You can call me whatever you want, as long as I'm not, who is it? Paxton Lynch. I'm good.
Oh, I got to ask one question before we get started on this. Tuck, this is an initiation for you. We all love you. You did a great job and everything. But I'm going to ask this question. Seattle Seahawks, Alabama, the Cubs, and Charlotte. Did he take a pinata blind and just pick 4 basic?
Or he may have just thrown a dart on the wall. I mean, we like you, Tucker. But I mean, yeah, it is kind of confusing because all those teams are not exactly in the same area.
It's one of those things where he's basically trying to go to all time zones. I'm trying to figure this out.
Yeah, I can't figure out him.
And he's got his studio downstairs in Indiana Jones' lair.
There you go. So let's get into Phil. I mean, he played for the Cubs in 1934 all the way to 1953. I didn't realize it was that far back, but the thing is he made his major league debut during the 1934 season. 7 games, only hitting .381 with 1 triple and 1 home run. He had 6 RBIs, but young guys in Major League Baseball is a lot different in 1934 than it is today. I mean, yeah, they had the AAA, but it wasn't like it was today.
Well, here's the thing. My dad was born in 1928. I wasn't. So I'm just trying to get this. I'm trying to get this straight. Look, here's the thing about Phil Cavaretta, though. Think about this for a second. He only played 150 games one time out of his whole career. 9 of his seasons, he didn't even play 100 games. But yet he has a batting title, 355. He had another where he had the most hits in the season, 197. you got to, one of the things you got to give to everything is this is definitely a different day. If you go through this right now when you're not playing every season, every game of the season, or if you don't have any kind of regularity, right now you're Frank Schwanda. We're about to talk about him. You get my point? Where you're going back to the troll. See, there was just something about he was the equivalent of like Ed Neely from the Bulls from the day, just like that 12 man. Maybe he played a little more, but it's that guy that just probably did everything. The grind, the grinder. He averaged 100 hits a year, yet he has a batting title. You don't know what you get from the guy. You don't know what you get. He doesn't have power. He doesn't have anything, but I would feel like he's a little more than Ozzie Smith, but he's less than, he's obviously less than Ted Williams.
The thing that I looked at him when I looked at his stats, the thing that got me is the outfield. I don't know when the Golden Glove was first awarded, but I know he didn't have any, but his fielding percentage was 0.990 with only 123 errors. And he not only played first base, but he played all the outfield positions. That's pretty amazing to have a 0.990 fielding percentage.
He had a 990 fielding percentage with like leather that you basically cut straight from the factory, and you put fingers in it. Did you see those? Have you seen those gloves? How much your hands would probably hurt just fielding a ball, and then look at the lack of strikeouts you got in those days. And it's like you're going for contact, and it's like this makes me wonder. People are always talking about that they're trying to get the home runs to try to get baseball back. What is to say? Let's ask ourselves, what's to say that baseball wouldn't be back if we had less homers and just really exciting ball, back and forth, when there's contact being made. It's like there's less strikeouts. People, maybe you have a rollout, maybe everything, but when the fans know that there's going to be contact made at all times and there's people on bases every inning, that may bring baseball back.
That is one way. I mean, I know a lot of it has to do with, how much time we're taking, but you know what? You're right. Get a couple of singles, doubles, people on base. I'll take that. Like you're saying, we like the long ball. I like home runs, but in the end, I like small ball too, and I like pitching. So I can see where you're coming from.
Well, I like. Remember, my favorite, and I still don't know if he's injured. They're just going to drop him just because the team's so bad. But I'm a Kyle Hendricks guy. And remember, I always tell you when he's striking people out in the first couple of innings, I'm saying, because that's too many pitches. Mm-hmm. I like 2-3 pitches, get a rollout, get a ground out. And it's like, I like that. It's because I want to keep my pitchers in 7-8 innings. But the thing is, when your pitchers are in 7-8 innings, if we're not going for the strikeout if we're not going for Jacob deGrom, which I'm still waiting for that other shoe to drop. If we're not going for that where it's every 12, if we're not going for the big strikeout, if we're not going for the big home run all the time, and in the middle of it is about 7, what was it? I remember in the Giants series, he struck out 44 times.
Mm-hmm.
If we're not doing something like that, then can we get baseball back in as a national pastime? Because it really isn't right now. We could get that back because people want to be excited. They don't want to be staying there watching people strike out.
I completely agree with Cavaretta, though. Do you think he belonged into the Pro Baseball Hall of Fame? For some reason, I was thinking basketball.
Football.
Yeah, exactly, or football. But yeah, should he be in the Pro Baseball Hall of Fame? He isn't yet, but I think he deserves a spot.
No. 100 hits a year. 100 hits a year, 9 years, under 100 games. But here's what I find. This was such a different day. He was a manager for the Cubs. You know what I'm saying? He was a manager for the Cubs for 2 of those years, a player manager, and then he leaves the Cubs and then becomes a full player for the White Sox. So
that doesn't work.
That is the equivalent of Bill Russell becoming the player coach for the Celtics and then going to the Knicks as a regular player. It's just so, but no, Cabrera does not belong in the Hall of Fame because he just doesn't have. He just doesn't have the sheer amount of days played. He doesn't, like I said, 9 years with under 100 games. It's like those, and it's just like he just doesn't have the power. Mind you, he's got about 6 years of 300 ball, and I'm not saying he's a bad player. He was great for his time, but he was that guy you use him about 7 different positions. You can move him all over the place. The manager that ever plays with, and remember, he went to 3 World Series, lost them all, but he went to 3 World Series. Any manager that would have a guy like that doesn't worry about injuries or someone off because they can just slip him anywhere. Which that's another thing we don't get enough of right now. It's like if you don't have a guy that you can slip anywhere.
So let's get to Cub or Dub. Hayward is going to depart the Cubs. Will they regress without him?
Here's the thing. In the outfield, yes. That's one of the great outfielders we've seen in this generation. Within the outfield, really they will. Hitting, let me say this. Like I was bringing this with Schwanda, and I'll say there's a partial agreement with Tuck on this. No, I don't want him as a hitting coach. And it's like, and it isn't because of what Tuck thinks, though. We don't ever say it based off of their hitting. Sometimes they're coach. I've been a coach. I'm no athlete, but I've been a coach. I've been a teacher. I've been everything. Sometimes you're a better teacher than you are an athlete. He could be an amazing one. But the reason I'm saying no to it is because there were too many people that wanted Rossi just because they loved him. And this failed. You need to get started in a lower league and find out where it is first. But, I mean, by itself. But the thing about him, he's going to retire. There's no question. But he needs to he needs to sow his oats in the minor leagues, what Ross did not do in the first place. But overall, I mean, we're going to lose a locker room leader. We're going to lose that. It's going to get tough. But, I mean, and of course in the outfield. But the biggest thing about it is the fact that it's like we're not going to lose a pile of money. If we would have been 3 years left, that would have been a big problem. But we're building a younger team, and Tuck's right. We're not too far off, and this isn't the time. Like I'm going to bring back Denver, by the way, where if Tim Tebow did not help win a division title, you don't get Peyton Manning. This isn't that time anymore. Even 10 years, you can get Aaron Judge with a bad team. It's such a different day now.
All right. Thank you, Jacob. Before we get into confrontation, tell all the people out there where they can find you and follow you.
Everywhere except for ESPN. No.
Pretty much. You are on here a lot on the network.
Yeah. ESPN does not let me. Trust me. Anyway, I am on Monday nights during the season with the Megan Price's NBA Carousel. Tuesday nights here with 1 billion% of the whole of Sideline Sports. Thursday nights on my show, the Pundits Pundit, which we talk about way different topics than a lot of people are used to. A lot of people, we're starting to get some fans too. I'm starting to see that. And then on Sunday nights, I am on Basket Bros. And hopefully we can get some more people. And Schwanda, we'd love to have you on when we get ourselves a chance. So we'll talk about that. We'll get to that stuff. And plus, I've got a movie. I got a movie coming out 2024 with TJ Sanson called The Quickening. You will be hearing more about this as time goes on. So I am helping with the producing end of it. I'm going to be acting in it too.
So on to confrontation. Of course, we'll have Jacob do his side, and you'll figure out which side he is on. But this week's topic is Cubs sent Schwindel down to AAA. Is this a good or a bad move? You'll hear his side, and he'll have 2 minutes to tell.
Why? Just why? Well, see, here's the big thing. For instance, you heard the Cubs fans got really excited about just Schwindel's numbers because he was 342. He was 324 last year, 342 with the Royals, and same amount of games, like 66 games, 64 games, something like that. He's struggling now that he has over those amount of games. He's at 75 right now, and he's over those. All it's saying is that you're going to lose confidence in him. And then he loses confidence in himself. No, you don't do that. You don't put him down there. You let him he didn't have the amount of games. He didn't have the reps to begin with. And fans, of course, they jump the gun as per usual. They jump to conclusions, Matt, as Office Space would always call it. That's what the Cubs fans and every fan always does, is they make them Hall of Famers before they're even ready. No, the thing is, you got to give him reps. You got to let him go, and you got to just let him play. This is not the right move. This is a young team. It's everything. You just got to let him go. You got to let him hit 200. You got to let him get under the what we call it, the Mason-Dix line, if you will, and Mendoza line. You got to let him get there. You got to let it go. You just got to let him learn it, and then he's got to bat his way out of it. That's the only way they're ever going to learn.
All right, so that was Jacob's side. We'll get Tucker in, and now he has 2 minutes to tell his side.
All right. Well, one question I've heard a lot tonight is, are we rebuilding or not? But I think this really indicates that we are. I mean, Frank Schwindel, he did have a great year in Kansas City in six games. And he was also came to Chicago. A lot of people were hype about him. But he's obviously in a flunk. I mean, he's batting 229. He can't – he's a liability on defense right now. And also, moving him, we still have the infield. We still have a pretty good infield. I mean, move Patrick Wisdom to first. You can mix around a couple guys, and it's not going to hurt us. So what I look at is we're not shooting for the wild card. We're not shooting for the playoffs, the first pick. We're not shooting for anything. So send a guy that's obviously struggling. Send him down for the next couple months. Let him work. Bring him back spring training. He is 30 years old, but bring him back next year, he might be batting in the 300s again. You never know. I think it is a confidence thing. He had one of the best years in his career last year. Comes to Chicago, starts to struggle a lot. Why not send him down to the minors, get him a little bit comfortable, and bring him back up? And
all right, Jacob, you have a 1 minute rebuttal.
Well, one of the things that we're going to have to be able to do is we got to, as far as the team saying that they're not going to make it, of course they're not going to make it. They're not going to. But we've got to think outside the box of this team. We've got to bring a Schwindel back up. We got to bring people back up. We got to get the pitchers that are struggling. Whatever pitchers are struggling, heck, we need a new closer. 5 closers this year have blown games. So we just got to do whatever we can. Let's go do Lou Brown from it's a little young for Tuck. It's a little old for Tuck. But we got to get Lou Brown from Major League and go get, just get a little thing and start tearing off some of the dress. We got to do whatever it takes to have a little fun. And the main thing is go get Schwindel. The thing is we need Schwindel. You need to get him. This is a bad idea to bring him down there. Just bring him back up. We got to do whatever it takes. This is a stupid idea. Who cares if he's 229? Who cares that? Let him get to 159. Let him get to Joey Gallo level, because eventually you get yourself a teacher and a coach that flips a switch for them that he can get back again. It's just reps. It's all it is. He had 60 some odd games. He's over that for the first time. He's struggling. This happens.
All right, now Tucker, you have 1 minute rebuttal, and then we'll pick a winner.
We sit here and talk about Joey Gallo numbers, but Joey Gallo is going through it. I mean, the man's struggling, not even on the field, but mentally too. And I feel like this guy, Frank, he's been playing okay for most of the year, but also sending him down, we don't have to grow. We're not going to grow any this year. I don't think really anyone's going to take this extra step. Anyone's going to do this. I think this more shows, Frank, that we are patient with him, that we're willing to be patient with him, because honestly, there's nothing we really are playing for. And I mean, if he bats 159, that means he's just getting worse. And what does it say when we go into next year? He doesn't shake that off. Send him to the minors, let him bat 300, let him hit 8 home runs, 10 home runs. He's only hit 8 home runs this year. Let him hit 8 home runs. Let him get his confidence and go into spring training next year, and basically tell him, you've got a chance to be the guy at first base. I truly guarantee that will boost his confidence up a lot. And also, he's only $700,000 on our payroll. We're not losing any money here. We're not, we need to start building with these young guys, but he's $700K. That's not going to be a punch to the payroll. So,
all right, there you have it with our Confrontation. I'm going to bring in a Dr. Dr. Confidence. There we go.
Confidence.
Yeah, I'm so used to how you having a different name, but
The other one,
I'll let you pick your winner tonight.
Both of them had very solid points. Awesome first outing by Tuck. Jacob Christner brought up it's about reps, and in some cases, that may be true. You just got to kind of keep them in there, keep them on the battlefield, but Tuck said, and one thing that Tuck was saying kind of reminded me of a point that I thought I'd bring up, and that is maybe, just maybe, that they are still, because notice they didn't cut Schwindel, they didn't trade him. So obviously they want to keep him around. And so what they're probably doing is the rest of the roster is mad young. Even though it was unexpected, we kept Hap, we kept Contreras. The Cubs could use a big three in leadership. In basketball, you hear about a big three or a triple threat in football. I think that's what they're kind of going towards, the teams that are winning have several superstars. Astros, Yankees, Red Sox, all these ones, Dodgers, all these ones have been constantly winning in these last some odd years. They have several superstars. I think that's what the Cubs are kind of shooting for. So I got awarded to Tuck tonight because I think that they're sending Schwindel down there to sharpen them up. It won't be for long, but they'll bring them back up. So we'll see Schwindel back on the main roster before the end of the year. But I think they're kind of grooming him up to be that third guy. The Cubs need more veteran leadership. Leave the rest of the guys young. That's great. You know what I mean? But keeping Hap and Contreras was an unexpected blessing, and I think Chicago realized what they had by doing so. And it's like, well, you know what? Schwindel, we can send him down there, sharpen him up, bring him back up, and we'll have our core of veteran leadership that can make the younger guys better.
So there you have it. Tuck got on the Confidential for the first time and actually won the Confrontation. Well, there you have it. That is our Confidential for this week. I really want you guys to go out and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You heard some of the shows we have on the network. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of them. For all of us here on the Confidential, we hope you have a great week, and we will see you next week to talk Cubs baseball.